What about
Meeting is resuming at 8:20.
Nailed it.
So what do you think of the back, now that you've been there?
I would like to see I would like us to reach out to the trades and see what we can get for cost estimates, just so we can bring that back and I'll consider like what order we can do things in. I'm almost thinking the parking lot is a bigger priority
Yes.
because it is awful.
But it has to be planned together.
Yeah.
Because the parking lot's gonna affect the building's gonna affect the parking lot.
Okay.
And the parking lot's a disaster, and it's gotta be done.
Mm-hmm.
Parking lot has to be, you're right. The
And that's
parking-
like $500,000.
So how do we
Easy.
pay for that?
That's what it was when they gave us the quote last time, right? 2 years ago?
I reached out to Doug.
So it's $750,000 now.
Perhaps. And Doug Rowe, if you remember, he was talking about doing it in like 4 or 5 phases. And he says, it's not the best way to do it. He said, but absolutely, he just done one up in Romeo, I think, for their village or DPW, same thing.
Outside of police access, like, I feel like phasing it is just prolonging and making it a bigger nightmare. I mean, it needs to be done. How quickly could it get done?
She doesn't want the noise.
Oh, I don't even care about the noise. I'm up. I mean,
Her dog's
Violet's
gonna bark all day.
gonna be out there no matter what.
If you
but-
had some money and you put it off a bid and it could be done in one summer, yes,
So where's the money coming from for
Right.
this?
right.
How do we?
Is it potentially that you could borrow it from the sewer fund and pay it back over a few years? Potentially, you gotta pay it with interest. Sewer fund has, what, 400,000, 500,000 in it, maybe?
I think it's more than that, but.
Yeah, because we know we paid that one bond a couple years ago cash, so that saved us money in the long run. I
Can you
don't-
do that?
Yes. You have to do it officially and you have to ensure that it gets paid back and you have to pay interest.
Okay.
How much interest typically?
Market rate type thing. You can't say, oh, 1%.
I think we have in the past, it's been a problem.
I
What's
would
our-
like to see the numbers for it personally, because I
Yeah.
don't think there's delaying that parking lot any longer. The building sounds like if we can get, the quotes in, some of them are going to be minor expenses, that will make a big difference.
I'm worried about somebody getting hurt in the parking lot.
Right, that's Terry said, we're calculation, someone hasn't.
Yeah.
Break an ankle.
Yeah.
You get, the striping's gone. It's not,
I
you were working.
We put it down.
You know, that's not a spot.
We put it down 2 years ago. but it was wrong.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to argue with
moved,
people in the parking lot anymore. You're parking the wrong spot.
But believe me, they found me on DPW, I said, just put it down, and it helped tremendously, the striping did. But that's been 2 or 3 years. now.
Right. Well, let's,
How about we get you the numbers for try to get some updated numbers on the parking lot? And then at the same time, work on some repair upgrades.
With the
fixes for
drainage.
For the,
because the drainage is gonna be a big part of that parking.
it is, and that was always considered, yes, underground, adding more
Yep.
underground storage. We even talked about how the drain coming out towards Hudson, it's not shallow enough, sometimes it would freeze from one catch basin to the other. Doug Scott had some ideas how to insulate over the top, we can get a little bit deeper is all.
Is that still DDA property?
No, it's not at all, no.
It's our property.
It is, the
Okay.
DDA stuff at Hudson Street, it's not
Okay.
this side. I know, we've all liked to pick that cherry out of the tree and put it in their lot.
Well, I think
Unfortunately.
the fact that the police department uses the fire hall.
Well,
who's paying for that?
the DDA provides us $50,000
Right.
for DPW work and downtown maintenance and stuff, and then 25 for the police. So currently, and I always push back on them anytime they think about lessening that.
There was an article in the, I don't know why I was reading the whatever the Lake Orion.
Oh,
Don't look at that, that's bad news bears.
Liquor
They're
review.
paying a lot more in
yes,
percentage than.
that's why they want to disband their DDA.
Well, let's not, go down that road.
And they're really having a hard time.
But.
But they'll pay their portion of it. because they use the parking lot.
We could possibly do that. 'cause
That's a good idea.
that's what I remind us. Is you guys pay us this. Oh, that's for DPW. I'm like, no. Well, Terry does a lot of your accounting and stuff.
I remember this meeting.
We
There was
have
a
of
lot more
things,
that we do.
And the cost for downtown maintenance and parking lot maintenance for DPW payroll, and it was like 120 grand a couple years ago, and they pay us 50. I says, well, I tell them you're getting a great deal. Stop while you're ahead.
And it wouldn't be $1 million,
Mm-hmm.
but we could hit them up for 10, 20 grand for their portion of the parking lot.
Well, and I don't know if we could do it that way. In lieu of rent
Right.
or something like that, you pay us, and then we will. Oh, we've decided to use the parking lot. I don't know if they could pay for the parking lot, but there's a way around that, right?
Absolutely. And the same with the chamber. Are they still here?
They pay rent, but they they have one.
And they're not rich or anything. I mean,
No,
Exactly.
no, they have very little. We
But they could pitch in $12.
Yep.
That could help.
dollar a month
DDA is
up
not
the
gonna
rent.
think about it, but they are.
Financially, this is the right time to ask them.
Yes, they're doing very well. And they're not supposed to be
Well,
hoarding their money either.
I will
That's-
say it is an overflow lot
purposes
for the
to-
DDA.
Well, and part of it is because we've had
You
the
see a
grant
lot
funds
of-
come in that
Oh,
we
yes.
haven't had
Oh, yes,
to
Boys,
spend.
I think,
but
isn't it?
they-
It gave a lot.
Maybe the yachts.
$500,000.
$24, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. They're told to park over there,
Right.
and we did have one slip 2 winters ago in our Hudson Street
Yeah,
area.
when I was working downtown, that was always a problem. People always fell, and you always came in with nasty, soaking wet shoes.
Yeah, because you got these little high-low spots, low spots get the water, and then
Right.
it freezes at night. Now
There
you
was
gotta-
no way to feasibly hop across the parking lot.
We train our
Walk
officers,
out.
actually, if you spill your coffee, you fail.
Yes, the coffee cup
So,
test, I love
but-
that.
And again, I don't know if they can legally provide any money to the parking lot, even though it's for overflow parking for the DDA businesses, so.
But it's a discussion.
Yep,
I think it's worth having the discussion
Mhm.
with Kelly and Rod before taking it to the whole board.
yep.
Yeah.
Nothing
If
huge.
we do it in phases, granted, again, I spent more time over there in the winter, but do you think that section would be the most, that's
I think the
opening us up
highest
to the
priority.
most risk?
That's
in
one of the
terms
most
of-
public parks.
Correct.
Yes, they come in and out of here all day, but there's always, all day, every day, somebody parking over there in that Hudson Street area. Overflow customers and, at minimum, workers.
There's
And
usually
it's
any
the worst
available
part of the
spaces.
parking lot.
It's rough.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's where I see a person from the public getting hurt.
So that you could probably punch out for, 150 or something and that really, because it kind of makes sense the way it's laid out. You could have a line by the dumpster here, straight across and have a phase that makes sense. Phase down the middle of your parking lot is kind of silly.
But I agree with Ashley. I would just
Yep.
soon
Oh, absolutely.
do it.
It's gonna be an inconvenience, no matter what, so why prolong it?
Yeah,
When that gets,
drag it out too. Doing
when that
phases,
gets
it's gonna
done,
be
I did not
multiple
incriminate myself,
Hmm?
but I cut through this way once and someone was coming through this way and we almost hit each other in the parking lot
By the
there.
dumpster?
I think that's a pretty big blind spot.
I don't know
Yes.
why the dumpster is really there. It doesn't seem like it's not convenient for our truck to go there.
It is not convenient for
Yeah.
You know what I think it is at one point someone said the dumpster vehicle could pull in, grab it here, dump, and leave easy.
Well, but there's a few, the door that faces out, the overhead door that Linda uses probably trail, you come down that cement, there's also a cement slab over against that back
Yeah.
wall.
But then that's too far from the businesses. It all
Well, I
has
don't
to
think
do with.
businesses really use it.
Yes, they
Do
do.
they?
They absolutely do.
Or they overflow, because we have a lot of them closer.
Someone is, I think, I
It's
don't
always gonna
know,
be used by
I don't
somebody.
know why. I kind of think
It
it's
wouldn't be
because
much.
they like to walk to smoke. But I know there's one
There's
restaurant.
I get
always-
that.
But it has been a huge problem where there is no more room in the dumpsters in the parking lot itself, and there is nowhere to put it.
Yeah,
It
so
is-
instead of being, if you're coming up Hudson Street and here's the dumpster, it would be, 20 feet farther on the
20
left
feet,
side.
yeah.
It's not gonna be much. It would make more sense, it would eliminate that blind corner.
But we had we used to have dumpsters in both.
Well,
I know we still have dumpsters in both.
Not since I've been here.
Didn't there used to be dumpsters in the other one too?
not that I remember, I don't know.
I think we should look at putting the dumpster, if we're redoing or thinking through this, because
Oh,
that's
that's
where it's at right now, as far away from residential as possible, because right now it's in someone's
I was thinking right
Yeah.
next to her back.
No, we're keeping that building.
One of those diagrams does show that.
So we have road, pick us a spot. How many dumpsters do we want?
Yeah.
Where do we wanna put them? Find the spot.
This is the only plan with the building paving and the dumpster back in that space where that currently is now. Well, it's actually right there, I think, but they're moving it over there. So from here to there, where the proposal is,
Even better,
they're
yeah.
curving. Now that tree, because all won't be a blind spot, but
Because that's.
yes, well, one of our officers I had to get after a year or two ago, he's no longer
Where are
here.
they proposing putting it?
Here, I
Yeah.
think right here you see the concrete, I think that's where it is right now.
Okay,
They're-
okay.
they're just pulling it.
I don't know how close that is to somebody's
So if you come
house.
here, I guess, you can get to it and pull out, or from here. you can't.
Well, you're throwing the stop sign. It's not brain surgery.
This from a person who doesn't want any stop signs.
You don't,
I
but I
don't
don't
want
use
a parking
Pontiac
lot.
Street.
You want me to draw that up?
I will tell you the daily election, shut that camera on. I drove that Pontiac Street, I didn't stop a single day.
You were lucky I wasn't outside because I heard they were yelling.
I did.
Shut my lights off, no one's coming, turn them back on, I go.
You know what's convenient? There's 3 stop signs, there's 3 lines on the ticket.
There's 4 stop signs.
Did you post the dates?
For the election, it'd be November 8th. Approximately 6.
I've never been at council meetings, so where would the councilman determination?
So anyways,
Yeah.
the dumpster, the blind corner, to your point, has already been addressed to some degree, if this plan was to go forward.
So we move these spaces over to here.
Yes.
These are no longer spaces. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, those are kind of funny, the way they sit out there, like
Yeah.
that funny
Yeah.
angle
There's
anyways.
something, though,
When somebody's
I-
parked there, it doesn't look like
wasn't-
it's in a space.
There's something about that because the pole couldn't
Yes,
move. and-
right. There is a pole there with the DT coming down, and it goes underground to our feed over here. And if we wanted to move that, that might be what that is
That
right
is,
there.
yeah.
Existing power utility pole, that pole's not moving. That's why that's there, because that's the main feed from here underground to our panels. And to get that thing to move over here, might as well add
I got
150,
no problems not moving that pole.
might as well add 150 grand to your lot.
That looks fine.
But
So,
that's why.
so who's gonna talk to,
If anybody knows this spot right here, this is Mo's parking space.
there we go.
You know what, you guys make this happen, you can all have your own spot.
We used to do like those schools where we paint our own spots, our
Yeah.
own stuff.
And again, this part over here, the old Township Hall part, if we can get that gone, then you could add a couple more spaces along here too, because the downtown needs parking, you know?
I think if we're gonna deal with this year, we deal with that next year.
Yeah, because this is a CDBG thing, it could be a year or two out anyways.
And again, it's, or get off the pot. Because it's not getting any better.
Yeah, I think it's a good, yeah, get the
And
quotes, get
CDBG
all
might,
those
we might have
things.
30 grand and it might cost 70 to knock that thing and fill it in the basement and all that stuff anyways, so.
Yeah, let's look at the budget to do that, and then who and when should we talk, I mean, who should talk to Kelly and Rod and when? Like, is that
Me and Ashley.
Ashley and
Me and
Joe?
Ashley.
Okay,
Um,
can we
I-
do that
Why
sooner?
don't you slip them some hallucinogenics?
I-
And then 25 grand.
I would like to, I need, if possible, can we have a printed budget and show them the benefits? Because I think that's, the biggest issue is in asking for it right when it's about to snow is not a great time. So I think if you can show, like, if we can show the numbers, we know what's in their accounts, we know what's in our accounts, and we know what we give each other and what we're asking for and what.
I've done that at the year end, provide them a spreadsheet of, you know, here's what they give us,
I
and here's
think
what's
if it
kind of
could be,
included in that.
like one page of being very clear.
Yeah,
of
oh, it is,
everything.
it's only a couple lines.
It is,
Here's
it's
what you
not-
pay us,
Yes.
and here's what we spend.
Make me very happy.
They cover about 45% of our cost of the downtown maintenance and plowing and all that stuff, and then that doesn't even take into account any utilities or rent or ancillary
It's a
stuff.
good year to ask them because
Mhm.
I know they have the money to do it, but I think Kelly and Rod can see the benefit
You're gonna
of
want
it,
Pete
but
there too.
it's an uphill battle, I'm
Is
gonna
Pete
say.
gonna stay on the DDA?
I don't know if Kelly's gonna let him off the DEA.
Yeah, she keeps telling him he's gonna stay, so, and he hasn't,
gonna stay for a
he
little
hasn't balked.
The DDA bylaws allow that many non-village residents to be on the DDA.
It says a majority, I think the state
When
law
they don't
says.
have,
A majority must have an interest in the downtown.
well, people would have an interest in the downtown.
Right, but
But he would be the only
he's
person.
like the
And I
only one
don't
that
think
doesn't
Ron
now.
has an interest in
He
it.
does,
Yeah, he owns
he's
the
a
building.
business
Does he
owner.
still own that one?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know if
And the
it's-
two newest members live in the district?
Right.
Yeah, Pete would be the only
Homegrown?
person that doesn't have
Yeah.
an interest, and then the township rep that we
Yeah.
added.
So it's more than a majority.
Can't imagine you wouldn't be okay with it. But,
I just think it helps them to see the numbers, because this is.
I agree. One page, very persuasive.
yeah.
Here's everything we do. Everything you pay for, here's what benefits you.
Okay.
So parking lot first, firehouse second, township building third.
Yes, I would actually say, I think the building, if there's some little things, like, I don't think a $11,000 quote to paint the outside and fix some panels is an unreasonable thing to do in tandem,
Oh, for
depending
the
on.
firehouse?
Yeah,
At least put a face on it for now.
It might
and put the-
improve efficiencies. and-
Right. You might get some holes plugged up then and save
Yeah.
10-20% on your heating.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay.
Never been on a roof, don't know what the roof looks like.
Please don't go on the roof. We don't wanna pay
there's,
for it.
there's critters that do.
I've been on business.
All right, so true. Here we go.
I'm good with that one, I can see what goes up.
Okay, so utility, and again, and I will try to get up some of the utility costs to share with you guys, just so you have an idea where we're at on it the last couple of years too.
Great. All right. Any further discussion on the building? Okay.
That's kind of building in a lot too, isn't it?
Building and, yeah, parking lot. We got both of those. Great. Wonderful.
I just have to say, I think Christmas came early. Did you not want me to come to this because you're going to surprise me, or?
No, I just didn't, like Don, I mean, if I don't tell him he has to come, if I don't think he has to come.
I know it's just broken record with him. You can tell him talking about the parking lot and that building and stuff. So this is exciting to me.
We
So
actually like made decisions.
Well, like I said,
I mean,
that 2019,
Seen a number in
Yeah.
front of
These
us.
are-
Yes.
Something.
well, these are 3 years old, but Mo's the only one who's seen them.
Decisions that we ever had. Closer to this. Oh.
Get new prices from Rowan, let's go.
All right, next up, any preference? Should we talk about the PUD project, social media?
The PUD, I think it's, what I did last week, a little bit about the fence. It's not there yet, I know, but the permit was pulled, and paid for it and pulled. He said that he was waiting for it to come in because they didn't have everything in stock. Because
Okay.
this time of year, they don't have a lot of fencing around. And it sounded like the conversation with his neighbor went well.
It
And,
looks much nicer over there.
Yes, and I drove
Yeah.
by, it's getting better. The building still would be nice to get gone, the little garage, he has some stuff
Yeah.
stored.
You
The
talking
window
about
frames on, we're on number F, number F, yeah, number
Yes.
F. The window frames are all installed, completed and installed, and the glass is ordered.
Okay.
They were, when he talked to us last time, they were still on the ground,
Okay.
inside. One was on the table yet to be built, because they're multi-pieces.
Yeah.
So those are all built and installed to open.
I was really frustrated, and obviously, it was the day of my surgery, so sorry, I was texting everyone during the meeting. But, I mean, I'm happy to see the progress. I drove by this morning, things are looking good. I would bet money that we could go back and watch it, and we were lied to multiple times over the past 2 years.
Ashley was my fact checker during that.
Which does anyone else remember the last time that he came before council
About a year ago.
a year ago, and he said the windows were ordered, they were on a ship because we were having problems with ports. And to tell me then that you're saying we ordered the windows in the last month, I mean, I was quite livid. I'm very disappointed. I think we let him off very easy last meeting.
Well, part of that is our legal hand isn't great. And if we blow it up too much, it's gonna get in the attorney's hands and everything's gonna stop. And if we run them into bankruptcy, then that's even gonna get worse.
It's a lose-lose.
I understand,
lose
so that's
situation.
it. So that's kind of
I get
why
it.
I'd rather
Just
pull
gotta
someone
get it.
across the finish line with candy in front of them. Come on, let's go.
I'm tired of, and maybe this is just a personal thing, like, you have to field a lot of the complaints, we see it all of the time, but to come forward and lie really is frustrating, like, can we all just be grown-ups and be honest and say, like, here's the problem, here's what I'm running into, and that's fine. I think there would be a lot more agreeability and understanding.
The fact that he blamed part of the slowdown on the school shooting almost made my head explode, and put Rorschach plots on the wall. So, but that's okay.
I think I was lucky I wasn't there because I said lots of choice words in my lazy boy watching the meeting.
We all bit our tongues.
Yeah.
I'm very frustrated by, as I know we all are,
But it's moving forward, and that's what I wanna see. I like to see it moving forward faster.
But this is what happened last time.
But he's
The
gonna
month
start-
after
So
the
Allison
meeting.
suggested every meeting, we have it on the agenda, and then I followed up and asked him, will you attend every meeting? He said, yes, every regular meeting, so hopefully and I think we'll be able to hold him much more accountable now, seeing him every month, and we're writing down what he said last time, so then when he says it again, it's not a year later, it's literally a month later, and we could say, well, last time you said this, and so he's not gonna be able to do that to us anymore.
And it's not a one-on-one, he's telling the entire community at a meeting, and I think it's hopefully will.
I think that's smart, and I would really hope that we stick to it even after the first few months, because I know last year too, when we had these conversations, we saw progress, and then December deadlines came and went, and there was no repercussions, and we were, almost back to square one.
The repercussions are very,
Loosey-goosey.
thank you for a coordinated phrase, I'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Well, and
Not
when you don't
great.
sign the
No.
agreements, there's
Right.
nothing we can do. I understand. I was like, you are all very nice, because maybe
just
I was just
understand.
on the anesthesia last time.
You were
Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize. That's the parking lot over there somewhere. We hope.
It's a fine line between, still being respectful even though you know he's lying to you because you want him to do what you need him to do and holding his feet to the fire. So I think we did a good job with that. So I think if we just remind him every month, if you don't mind, hey, you're
Yep.
on the agenda again, here's the meeting.
Oh, I
You know,
called
council
him just
expects
last
you.
week, too.
So then I think
Thank you.
that'll be great.
Sometimes I just stop by.
Yeah. Yeah. so-
Obviously, we would like that parking lot sooner rather than later. But do we think there could be structural integrity issues if it's poured at this point?
Are the asphalt
I don't think
plants still
so.
open?
Huh?
The asphalt plants still
First thing you would have to do is put the curbing in, and that would be poured, right? And then the base
I
coat of
just
the
don't know what else to-
limestone.
Yeah.
Before then, the asphalt wouldn't go until spring anyways. Yeah, they're getting asphalt tomorrow morning. Didn't you see my Facebook post for the village today?
I almost hit the cones.
The part down by Allison's house.
You hit a lot of things almost.
Well,
A lovely driver.
Yeah, the DPW prepped the area and asphalt contractor will be here in the morning to finish that
It
patch,
was
the
right
repair
extreme.
patch, yes.
Good.
So obviously they're still open. They're planning the weather. It's
And
not
today's
got,
weather was gorgeous.
it's not
but
got,
tomorrow's not
it's,
gonna
yes,
be.
and there's people still wanting to continue work and still wanting to buy asphalt, so they'll stay open. If the weather really turns bad, they will close. But we were happy.
And I will look at your Facebook page tomorrow.
I think I got one person look at it. Yeah, we were just lucky that the initial first price Don got from the company was like almost $10,000 for that. This place out of Inlet City is doing it tomorrow for $2,200.
No, that's
Nice.
better.
That's why I got lost.
It's gonna crumble.
Because Don, we were gonna let it sit through the winter with limestone packed in, and that was it. And then he finally got another price from somebody. Again, it's like pulling teeth. And like,
Yeah.
whoa, okay. And Don had worked with this company before.
When people's projects end, they got a little slow time.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do that with 2,200.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing anything else that day.
Right. So tomorrow they'll be there. They prepped it today. So the cones should be gone by the end of the day tomorrow.
Obviously, I didn't open.
Justin Wilcox, I know his wife comes in and wants to turn left there, and that's really tough for her.
Yeah, I think you're the only.
The cones
two
weren't
people
gonna
that are
stay.
really affected by that every day are both very connected.
Yes, the cones weren't gonna stay throughout the winter. They were just waiting to get it dug out a little bit to limestone and pack it, and then remove the cones, and that was gonna be the plan through winter, but now we have a better plan. Luckily. So that kind of veered off the PUD thing, but yes, that's kind of where that's at. Social media though, it relates to that same deal with the water line break. So around 9 or 10 in the morning, we were notified of there's water running down West Burdick. I drove down there, looked, I could see it come up through the cracks heading down there, and down. They just picked up with their hot box a lot of hot mix asphalt to go do a couple repairs that they had where they did some out in the lakes and down off Powell Street to pack it in, and the one maybe on Lincoln too. It's just in his house. So they just picked up hot asphalt that morning, and they were just like, well, we can't break loose So we called Water Tap, who can do the live taps on water mains and stuff too. But Don looked at it too, and he said the amount of water coming out of there was not large enough to indicate a main, probably a service lead. Nevertheless, we called Water Tap around 10. They hit the site around 3. We dug it out. They realized it was a service lead, and the street was back open by 7. I think I posted, I think it was the very first post I did on our site that day that before I left. Here's the plan. We know what it is. It should be open by 6 or 7 o'clock. 2 or 3 days later, the following week, I'm talking to Jack Curtis about something downtown over here, and he said, well, you know, something about social media, and, well, you know, Don, those guys, it's like I have West Burdick closed for 2 or 3 days. I get it, Don's got guys, they need hours. I'm like, what are you talking about? It was closed for 2 or 3 days. He said, well, it was all over social media. Somewhere out there, that was closed for 2 or 3 days, and it was because our DPW wanted overtime.
That's always not
true.
When in fact, it was, they showed up at 3, they dug, they repaired it, and it was back, and the road was open by 7.
Don't you worry, my dog let me know exactly when they were out there. It was
So
not longer than a
again,
couple
so social media is a
hours.
double-edged sword, is the moral of my story.
Did he tell you where in social media it came from?
No, he said, well, it was all over social media. I was like, Jack, what are you
All
talking
over,
about?
I would like to know.
No, it was,
where.
it really was.
If it didn't
almost-
make OMC, I feel
I
like
didn't
it's
see
not,
that.
it
Yeah, I
didn't
don't-
happen.
No.
I'm standing on my cell phone downtown talking about something unrelated, and that came up. I'm like, no, we were open
A
that
lot of
day.
people like to blame social media for trying to get information out. Oh, it's all over social media.
Well, it's also.
Well, a lot of people don't confirm things before they put it on social
Yeah,
media
exactly.
either, and that's a bigger problem.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to put more things out there. I'll put a picture of Don sent me a picture this morning or this afternoon about they got that all prepped. I put it out there just to let people know, hey, by the way, this has been a few weeks. It's going to be asphalt tomorrow. Again, you mentioned about maybe doing some of the things posts as well. Some of the things like hydrant flushing, those kind of things are going to generate through our office, so I still have to do that.
If I see it, I share it on our page too.
Yeah, and Mike and the DDA and the chamber, they're good at putting all kinds of stuff out, and they'll like our stuff now too to get more. I put something on right before the Thanksgiving about the Lions. I gave them a little snarky comment about the Lions. Hopefully to get a little traction. Losing on National TV Day, I called it, or AKA Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so my thoughts with the social media was just that I think the more information on the day-to-day stuff of what's going on at the village, Joe can post, but I'd like to also have access to our Facebook account so I can post like, hey, council talked about this evening, or hey, we have this coming up on the agenda. Joe posts the agenda, and he's got it to where you can take a screenshot of
Yep.
it, posting it, so it's easy for people to read and save to their phone if they want to. But I guess I'd like the public to know more about like what's coming up, what we're talking about, what important decisions we made. Like if there was a decision that council made that's of interest to people, like I'd like to post about it after the meeting. I'd also like to provide a lot of like community resources and things, or like highlight specific, days and recognize just different, whether it's organizations or cultural
birthday.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
We're
Just a
sending
lot of
gifts.
what the county does,
Yeah.
we could kind of replicate, and just so people are
Mhm.
becoming aware of, even like
Yeah.
the RAP
'Cause-
program for water affordability and stuff, just
Yeah.
that's newly changed. It's income-based now. People can get a bill that they can afford, which has never been done before in the state of Michigan, and so
Yeah.
if council agrees, I'd like to have that access just to maybe try to like plan out, because you can schedule all Facebook posts, so I can like do them for the week in advance, and
Mhm.
that way every day we can, don't hold me to it, but I'll try to do it as often as
I'm just
possible.
wondering when she gets done.
Yeah.
I think that's an absolutely fantastic idea, and I have no doubt, I have no qualms trusting you with that. But I think we do need to adopt a policy because,
Ours is old.
well, ours, yes, it's complete, but I don't want, it's difficult to have one person summarize if, in the future, someone who isn't in, and they may have a,
It sounds like
I-
a
I
discussion
was-
again for 3 and 0.75 years from now.
it's hard to give someone that much.
Yeah, no, I totally
I
understand.
think you do.
I try to be
Not
pretty
gonna
diplomatic, but
Well,
I
think
I
we
was-
trust her. She has 4 years left. We're good.
I was contacted by Unicode just last week regarding social media management. And I told them that we weren't at that point yet. And we use Unicode for our ordinances, and they said they're trying to roll out this program. And right now, and for, I don't know, a limited time, a year or something like that, it would be at no charge. Unicode normally charges based on your population and, probably on your SEV values, but I told them I would bring it up and see if you're interested. We can make, I could put them in contact with you if you just want to talk to them a little bit and see, since, you're going to be managing a lot of that content for social media, where ours is more business related, and they manage that for you to make sure posts, I think the time period, Joe and I were discussing that you really have to stay on top of that stuff, because if you don't, you have unnecessary information or information that's passed. It's no longer pertinent to what's going on now, so you really want to be on it and making those updates and stuff like that. And so I don't really know anything about the program, but that might be a good, reference to
Yeah, I'd be
see if it would
interested
work for us.
in learning about that for sure. I know so at the WRC, I manage, one of the departments I manage is our communications and marketing team, and they do an awesome job with our social media, and they have it all scheduled out, and I don't even review their posts in advance anymore because they're so good at it, but I don't know, I don't have like a background in that, but it's just something I see every day that I think I can help with the village improving, and if there was ever a doubt in my mind, like, maybe I should post this, maybe I shouldn't, I would not. So like.
But archiving the
Pretty
information
general.
is important too, because then you want to be able to go back and dig it out if you need it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I don't know if you've even, given thought to. I didn't, but,
Right.
because
Yeah.
I don't really care for
Create
social
the
media.
record. Yeah.
Do you guys use the archive social thing where it backs up every single post on your thing and it's in real time? And because sometimes people put up something really nasty or they threaten somebody, then all of a sudden
Yeah.
they remove it an hour later. Well, this place will archive it for you, but it's a monthly
This
cost.
was pre-pandemic when I went to an MML event. There was a social media segment, and they went through that, the legal aspects of needing to record things and how to approach it, how to craft a policy that would allow you to remove comments. It's a gray area where you're allowed to remove comments that are profane, that are explicit. But
It's kind of
we definitely need
subjective.
to talk about.
Can you turn off comments?
Yeah, I like that idea. I like just
And
pushing
there's
them
also
out.
pros and part of that went through pros and cons of how to approach those things. But if we don't necessarily have someone full time, or not even
Yeah.
full time, but if someone on just a really regular basis leaving those things up. But there's a downside to that too. If I don't know, it's.
I'd recommend not allowing comments. It's
Yeah.
it's for
Messy.
information, like purposes only. I don't want to create like a dialogue on the village Facebook page, you know?
Get messy
Agreed.
real.
Yeah.
That solves
We
that
don't
problem.
have the bandwidth to deal with it, so
Right.
if we just don't
'Cause it is
allow comments
constant.
on our, and
Yeah.
people can share.
Mhm.
Yeah, then that way, it can get shared on other pages, and there could be dialogues on other pages, but not necessarily on our page. And so at WRC, we do allow commenting, because the commissioner, he wants that, and it's a daily thing, going and responding and complaints, and then people say nasty things, and you have to leave it there, and it's not pleasant. So I'd rather have ours just be for information purposes only, not I mean, people can come to the public meetings and talk to us about it.
Well, they walk in here and will complain about garbage, or
Right.
they'll email me about the police letting trucks drive 75 miles an hour through town.
Yes.
What?
Stop doing that.
Did they calibrate their radar?
I don't know if we want to come back to this next time, because I think it'd be good if we went through and made a list of things we would ideally like to see and look at how, in the office, what an how that would look.
Yeah. We can definitely.
And this is why I want to talk about it later, because my brain just stopped working, and there was
I know.
something really
Because it's
important
getting
that I
close to
had
9
to.
o'clock.
There was something. Oh, our website. We should probably look at our website too, because apparently someone was trying to find the stream, couldn't find the stream whatsoever, and they didn't know the cable.
Oh.
They didn't know how.
We have a
to
link to
go.
OCTV, but I don't know how you get to their YouTube. I could maybe put a
Well,
link.
and if
Just
you're,
search
if,
for
and
it.
I-
YouTube.
part of it, I think, is we're in an echo chamber of being people who are in the know about municipal things. We know how the interconnecting. If you're a layperson coming into this,
Our website needs work, it's
Our-
not
yeah.
accessible, it's not,
so that's why
It's
when we're
ADA
posting,
accessible.
yeah, when we're posting agendas, I'd like to see like the direct link to the agenda and the packet, because I think it's a lot of
Searching.
searching and
It's a lot
unless you know the
clicking
right
through.
terms and the right places to look.
So maybe have the
And
one
even
that's
when you do,
up.
sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't necessarily, and our search function is,
Not good, yeah.
Well,
doesn't.
I know the
yeah.
DDA just redid their website, so I wonder.
I haven't, okay, maybe I haven't looked at.
But it's just their one facet.
Okay.
I haven't gone deep into it, but that's just,
Yeah,
I
they
don't
just
think
launched
it
it a
was-
couple weeks ago.
it wasn't overly expensive.
They went through Oakland County Main Street or somebody down there did it to them, did it for them.
We can talk about this. I mean, I'd love to talk about this a little bit more next time. We can all kind of
Nice.
think about it and kind of come back and if we want to.
I'm an old
Maybe
lady.
you should talk
I don't
to
do
those
social
people.
media. I'm out.
No.
Don't tap in.
You look.
No,
Right.
this is me. Chippy, how do we do this? Please show me.
Yeah, what's a right
I'm not
click?
Steve Jobs.
I could just see you now. What's a right
That's
click?
good. See, Dad.
I feel a lot of pain when I start doing stuff on the computer.
Yeah,
So
I
I
just
just don't.
I just know that if I wanted to know how late Funky Monkey was open tonight, I went to their Facebook page, checked their hours. Like so many people just go to Facebook, and if something's going on in the village, like a street closing for 2 hours for the water lead break, like if they go to the village website and see it there, they're getting the correct information instead of speculating and running wild.
Like, just have to
So-
meet people like where they are and it's
Yeah.
integrated into a system they already use.
Right, that's where people get their daily news now, is just scrolling Facebook, seeing what's
And,
going on.
and
think
those
that's
kind of things you
very
can't put on a
generational.
website, you know?
Yeah.
True.
I know,
But-
right.
And I'm coming into this kicking and screaming, as I've been telegraphing for a year or so. That's what Vicky said, do you even have a Facebook? I'm like, yeah.
I think if you want, like, yes, social media is absolutely important, but I think, and for a quick update, that's where I would look, but I think you're looking at, bookend generations for mine that are not going to be going to Facebook to
Right.
look for this information.
And so
That's-
Terry and I were talking today, Sue, I said, I get the relevance of it for certain things, right? Hey, this is gonna be closed, this happened for a couple hours. I'm not gonna put that on the website, because then you gotta go and take it off. Well, social media, it just comes and it flows by. Another one just comes and it flows by. You don't have to take it off. It's downstream, you posted it 3 weeks ago, whatever. You don't have to worry about going back and taking it off. Or, it was just last week, I went and put our CDBG public hearing notice on the front of our website off, because it's there, we had the meeting, and you get busy, it's like, oh, shoot, a week later, it's still on there.
Yeah.
It's last week's meeting, so I have to go and take it off. Where social media, you put it on and it just goes by and you don't care about it.
Yeah, I just know, I know like it's certain population, but that population is also feeding information to everybody else out there. So I think it would reach a lot. And to be honest, like the Oxford Leader doesn't report on our meetings like they used to at all. We don't, I mean, they used to do really detailed, nice articles on what we talk about.
And I was reporting from the township.
Yeah, nobody knows what we're doing anymore, so it's just one outlet
I
that we
think
have.
that would be
so.
a nice thing to somehow, as we're going through posting, to do some sort of like, I don't know, education's not the right word, but how many times, even for me, where I'm like, well, who should I talk to? Is it the chamber? Is it DDA? Is it village? Is it township? Who does this? Who's where? Like,
That's what I was thinking too, of like, just incorporating the general, like, did you know type stuff, and
Yeah.
like, just kind of weaving that in, because,
And for our-
you're right.
Our MS4 permit, with the sanitary sewers and stuff, Clinton River Watershed, they provide us information, we put it out here, we put the things up, we take pictures of it, we show that what's on. We have a public education aspect of that, right? So some of those things we put online, about washing your car on your lawn versus in your
Yeah.
thing. So those kind of things we put on there because it's good because people never think about it. I'm like, oh, never knew that. It's a responsibility for us to get that out there anyways. So it kind of works in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, and I shouldn't say nobody knows what we're doing, because we have OCTV, and if it weren't for them, no one would know what we were doing.
Yeah.
but even when it was like what live stream last time, it was me and Don Rush on it. That was it. Like you could see.
Well, yeah, and a couple years ago, there was a push to have daycare in here, so many people would come to the meeting, and I thought that was people who could drop their kids off and they're going to 24th Street. What they're doing. Yeah, where are those 40 people in the meeting? Yeah. So you can't drag people to the meeting. Believe me, when something's up, they'll show.
That's true.
And when it's already being, OCTV's been around, forever, and they now are actually not just filming it and finding it a week later, which is like it was a year ago. Now they're live streaming it, and then 2 people showed up. So you can create some buzz and some interest, but you can't.
I do know a lot of people going back to watch it. So
Yes.
What was on the agenda?
I don't know.
There wasn't. I don't know.
Was that a trick question? Oh, I wanna know.
There wasn't a lot of hot topics on
Right,
the agenda.
right.
It'll be, when there's something big going on, there'll be people watching.
Right.
This meeting was talked about on social media quite a bit because of
Today's?
the memorial.
Mm.
So, there was a lot of talk about this out there.
Mm. Well, that's my point. When you have a meeting and there's two people in the audience, like, that's okay. You don't need to go drag them off the street and say, come on in here.
Yeah, but the purpose of the meeting in the
It's your
public
meeting.
forum is for you to conduct your business. It's not, let's all have everybody come in and weigh in on the topic. I mean, you do want public, feedback and all of that, and you want to be accessible, but the whole transparency so that they can actually see what's, how you're deliberating or whatever. It's not we need to get more people involved. It is so that you can conduct your business in an open forum.
And I see what you're saying with that, but if we don't, realistically, if we're trying to be equitable and we're only going to hear input from people who have more time on their hands, retirees, older. If we're trying to get, represent everyone in our community, the younger families, we have to meet them in a way that they can access it, because how many people with small children can be religious about watching every single meeting?
Well, like Ashley said, they can go back 3 days later, 11 o'clock at night, and go, all right, now I got an hour. I didn't have it Monday night. So thank goodness that the OCTV is
And you can
that.
set it at 2 times and listen
Please
to
don't
it and
stop
fast
recording.
forward.
Like, during the live stream. I
I'm
love
not
it.
saying
Like,
we
No.
should replace it.
Yeah.
If the only people in the community watching shape the narrative of what happened without putting, a summary like, Kelsey was saying, they're not getting the full story, and it's a game of telephone of what's happening, and it's.
There's always that you'll never get rid of that.
But I
It's,
mean, if we-
The road was shut down for 2 days.
because even when people come to your meeting, part of the problem with engaging your public, in the comments while you're talking, is that everybody's not being represented there. It's only those people that have showed up. So when you take a topic that you're discussing and all of a sudden you have these popcorn questions or whatever, people popping up, it's only representing that one, and it's not fair to, as you say, your point, that because everybody is not there. So the real purpose of your meeting is for you to conduct your business and make your decision based on the information you're provided. You can always go back and change your mind. That's always an option in parliamentary procedure. When new information is presented, you can bring it back and say, hey, this is something that we were not aware of. And then you can make corrections and stuff. But that's what I'm just saying, the whole transparency thing and about having a public meeting. A lot of people don't understand, and maybe that's something that they could learn through social media, the concepts of a meeting, is so that you can conduct your business in an open forum so that they can access the information and see
Witness
what your
it.
decision, right, who voted what, how did they come to
I
that
think-
decision?
I really, really like what Lake Orion, whatever platform they use, shows the topic and who voted for what. I think as a voter, that's not
Yeah.
live, no,
Oh.
not live. It records what was voted on and who voted for what.
Yeah, those
Like,
are those
that's the kind
those
of-
are those minutes management. I use those. I used 2 different systems before I came here, and that's what they do. Here you have to actually roll call vote it, unless even in a voice vote, everybody votes affirmative. If somebody says nay, that's recorded in my minutes anyway. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
I-
They automatically when the vote goes in, they automatically record who voted. In those management systems are great.
I think
They are
those, something
great.
like that to post, because I know, as a resident, I want to know, before I came here, I didn't know who was voting for what or who stood for what in a local politic thing. That information is helpful to be able to see, okay, here's how they voted historically and they're running or doing this. I just think that's helpful.
Well, and you can go back in minutes. You can go back and look for the last year of
I'm not
minutes
looking
too.
back in minutes.
Well, I'm just saying, how else? If you want to know how someone voted historically, I don't know how else you're.
No,
Well, I'm
but
saying,
I can-
there's just
If there's
website or a
split
post.
issues,
Yeah.
I
Right.
could post, you know, like
Yeah.
who voted for what on split issues, just so the community knows that. I think it's important to have split issues and we don't all agree on everything. So it like shows. I would just like people to be more interested in local government, particularly because it's really difficult to fill vacancies that we have on the TDA and the Planning Commission. And so the more that's out there about what we're doing, people might just find interest in it. And then I can constantly insert those, hey, you want to join us type posts as well to get kind of, I don't know.
In the DDA, I made a comment at last month's meeting that they had all but one. It was the fullest board I've seen in a long time up there. They had 8 people sitting up there, and
Wow, good.
it was nice.
So when do we want to meet again?
Right. So
We had
14th.
originally said, yeah,
Long.
next
Yeah,
week.
let's do that.
Yeah,
we're at 9.
2 weeks from now is your regular meeting. Did you want to
So-
do a week from now?
That was your backup.
We had talked about the 14th, which would be next Wednesday. And then the following Wednesday.
Because that'll
is
be
council.
not
Or
so much
Tuesday.
follow-ups on these, but the other topic we didn't touch on could eat up a lot.
Well, I do want to talk about social media again, frankly.
Yeah,
Okay.
'Cause
okay.
to-
Yes, that's your agenda for the next regular meeting,
Yeah.
or the
What do we have?
monthly meeting.
I'm sorry, so
This-
the 14th would be our next workshop.
Yeah.
And then when is the council meeting?
2 weeks from today, 21st.
It's on that Wednesday?
Mhm.
we said that.
That's through the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
So, is it, do you want to do the 14th then, next Wednesday? 7 PM, same place?
Is 7 o'clock good for you too? I mean, it gets you home pretty late.
Yeah, it does, but, you know, I mean,
Oh,
you
I
guys
Fine.
gotta work too, so. Whatever, we work at your pleasure. Whatever you want.
Or midnight.
I thought you were talking about these two. I'm like,
Yeah, no, but you guys are here
yeah.
in theory at 8 in the morning.
Well, on days like this, we might come in an hour late because we can't leave from 5 and go home to 7.
Right.
So we'll work 9 to 6.
Well, it's.
So we'll flex because
Everybody
again,
is available at 5 to do it at 6, to do it before 7.
I don't
I
usually
think
get
it-
home until like 6 or
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
So that's why 7 always works.
no, but don't worry about us. I mean, like you said, on a
Yeah,
day like
that's-
today, we're not going to be here late. We're like, well, we'll work 9 to 6 instead of 8 to 5. We'll come in an hour late because then, or something like that because we're going to be here for a couple hours anyways.
Right.
We'll just flex a little bit and it gives us a chance to maybe do something on the way to work that we didn't have time to leave and go do between 5 and 7.
I could,
You guys good?
well, let me see what is going on on the 14th. Depending on what meetings I have that day. I could probably make 6:30 on the 14th if that would be better for
I
anyone.
don't want to stress.
No.
7's fine.
7, okay?
Seven.
Okay.
Better.
All right, so 12:14 at 7.
The days when we can do like 5, that's awesome, but.
Yeah, the only bad thing is it gets dark out at 5 o'clock.
I know.
You don't even know
So
it's
can I
dark
come in my
out sitting here.
pajamas?
Yeah, I'm almost done. What are you gonna bring your jammies or your something? 12, 14. So on the agenda will be residential
put my sweats on, come to the meeting.
social media.
I like it.
If I have anything else to share, I'll share, but probably closer to the 21st as far as our regular meeting.
And then the fire chief will potentially be able to make it to the 14th.
Yep, yep, I will invite him, yep. Pete Scholl probably will not come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
He's
okay.
begun his descent.
Good
Yeah,
for
those
him.
envelopes are your mailbox, you know, everything that was in your mailbox, plus the financial statements and that presentation.
Oh,
will
I
be
have
on
an
the
envelope. Did you open
21st.
it?
So
Yeah.
bring your
I
financial
thought, well, I was
statement
opening at the
with
meeting.
you
Okay, I
if
had
you
no idea
want.
what it was. I just got it, it was in my, okay, I figured it was, I thought, well,
Well, there you
I would just open it at the workshop.
go. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other public comments? Seeing none, any council comments?
No, thank you.
I have a question, I mean, probably after this meeting.
After the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, any other council comments? Hearing none, I'll make a motion.
Adjourn at 9:08.
Okay, motion made, seconded, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Any nay, motion carries, we are adjourned.